Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name is Amanda and in today's video we are going to be doing some spring pastel nail art using the new spring pastels collection. Now if you haven't already checked out this collection, then this is the 6 stunning new Kiki London shades which are absolutely perfect for not only spring but summer too. So if you missed the swatch video, I will leave that linked in the description box below. Before today's video we're going to be doing some nail art with these, and I wanted to go for a bit of a butterfly theme, but I did decide to do a white base for 3 of the designs in this set. So for my white base I'm going to be using coconut. Now coconut is a very highly pigmented bright white shade, so I always like to use this on the super thin side just so there's no curing issues. So I've done a thin coat of this, popped it into cure for 30 seconds, and then we're going to come in and do our second coat, keeping this nice and thin as well. Because it's super pigmented, in 2 thin coats it will look nice and bright even, and you'll get that full-on white coming through. Securing that for 30 seconds as well. And then on our first design we're gonna, before we start our first design, I'm gonna get the 4 colors from the new spring pastels collection down on my palette. So we're gonna be using this beautiful green, which is Willow, and then we're gonna be using Peachy Nude, which is a really pretty pinky peach shade with a bit of a dusky undertone to it. Then I'm gonna add on Sky High Blue. I really love how these 3 colors especially look together, and then I did want a pop of bright coming through in this set, so I've gone for Canary Yellow. So we've used 4 out of the 6 new shades, and I do have a design in mind for the other 2 shades as well, so do keep an eye out for that. Now for this design, this first design, I'm going to pop down a thin layer of Blue Mid Gel. Now you're not gonna, these first 2 nails that we're going to do are kind of like a layered look with stamping, but I wanted to show you guys how you can create different bases for your stamping to make it look fun and to add those pops of color. So on this first one we're going to come in with a thin layer of blooming gel, and you leave this wet so you don't pop this into cure. Then I'm going to take a large dotting tool and start off by picking up the Canary Yellow and dotting down 3 dots using that, and then I'm going to clean off the dotting tool and repeat this process using all 4 of those shades. So next up we've got that Willow, and what's going to happen is those colors are going to start blooming and creating a really cool effect on the nail. Now when you are dotting down your colors, you want to try and make sure they're not touching, so that when they bloom there's going to be a thin line in between all of those shades. It doesn't matter too much if they do touch, it just will change the effect, and for this particular effect I kind of wanted to make sure we were getting a little bit of the white in between all of those colors, and I did just want it to sweep across the nail. I still wanted some of that white to come through. Once you are happy with your bloomed design, you're going to pop this into cure for 30 seconds, and then everything is cured and set in place, so it's not going to bloom anymore. If you want it to bloom more, then just wait a few more seconds before popping it into cure. Then I'm going to pop down this beautiful butterfly wing image. So I'm going to apply my stamping polish to half of the design, scrape the excess stamping polish so it covers the entire design, and pick that up on my stamper. I always then like to remove any excess image that I've picked up that I don't want to transfer on the nail, and then we're going to line that up, press down, a little wriggle, making sure it's made good contact with the nail, and then pull off. And as you can see, you can't necessarily as much see the bloomed effect, but it stops it looking as harsh colors underneath that layered design. On to the next one. I have already done my 2 coats of coconut, and for this design I'm going to be using my ombre brush, but we're not going to be doing an ombre. So what I'm going to do is create like a textured effect with the ombre brush. And the reason the ombre brush is great for this is because you've got the 2 different types of bristles. You've got the dense ones down at the end of the brush, and then the more lighter, longer, sparse ones at the tip of the brush. So what we're able to do is pick up a decent amount of color, but then create texture using the tips of the bristles on that brush. So what I'm doing is just taking a small amount of each of the colors on my brush and getting them down on the nail, really gentle, fast but light strokes, so that we keep that texture there without blending the colors together. And then I'm just going to make sure that the colors are overlapping, but I don't want to start creating an ombre effect or a blended effect. I really want to keep that rough textured look. So I'm placing the colors down over the top of each other, making sure that you can see all 4 4 of those colours, but I'm not working them together or anything like that. And this is a really easy way to create a colourful base for any kind of nail art, not just stamping. You could pop foils over this, you could do some hand painted nail art, or even water decals. I stuck with stamping today so that the design looked cohesive. So once we had cured that in place, we're going to come in with a different butterfly image. Again, just applying the stamping polish to half the design, scraping it to it fills the design, quick flick of the wrist to pick that up, and then removing any excess. And the great thing about this is you're still going to be able to see lots of those colors coming through, but it takes the stamped image up a level rather than just having a plain base with your stamped design on top. And I think it's a really fun way to play around with a new collection, because it's a great way to experiment with what colors work well with what and how to incorporate them in different designs. On to the third design, we're going to be doing a vertical ombre using the Canary Yellow and the Sky High Blue. These two colors together actually give me more of a summer vibe, or maybe like one of those really nice spring days, which I don't feel as though we've had many of here in London. Especially I feel as though it's been quite dull, cold and rainy, but these two colors, you know, you've got the Sky High Blue, which is obviously perfect for a bright blue sunny day, and then the yellow for the sunshine. So I've applied both of those colors down onto the nail and just cleaning off the Sky High Blue bottle brush before I pop it back, because it had picked up a little bit of that Canary Yellow. And then we're going to just come straight down the center with our ombre brush, pulling these two colors together so that they meet and start creating a transitional shade. And then what I'll do is flip my brush over so that the blue we picked up on one side of our brush is now going to be going into the yellow, and vice versa, and then start blending again. Then what I like to do is clean off all of that excess gel polish that you've picked up on your ombre brush and just go in and perfect it just by coming in on either side and blending each of the shades out, using really nice light feathery strokes for this step so that we don't pull the gel polish around too much. Now do bear in mind this is only the first coat, and your ombre never looks perfect on the first coat. So pop that in to cure for 30 seconds, and this is what it's looking like. And it's really funny because the transitional shade that is created in the middle is very, very similar to the green in this collection called Willow. So I really liked that. I stopped for a second and was like, wow, we've created Willow. So then I'm going to come in on that second coat, starting off by applying the Canary Yellow over the top of the first coat of Canary Yellow, and then the Sky High Blue over the top of Sky High Blue, making sure that we're covering that blend and those two colours are meeting in the middle. And again, cleaning off that bottle brush before we pop it back in and contaminate the rest of that bottle. I've then given my ombre brush a good clean before coming in and doing this second coat. And as you can see, we're doing exactly the same as before, coming straight down the centre to blend those colours together, and then flipping over that ombre brush so that we're taking some yellow gel polish into the blue and blue into the yellow, giving it a good clean on an alcohol wipe, and then perfecting that blend. So I'll perfect that blend on this second coat a little bit more than what we did on the first coat. So I'm really taking that transitional green shade that we've created and blending it into the Canary Yellow, and then on the opposite side blending it into the Sky Blue. Again, really making sure to use really nice light feathery strokes. Now it's very easy to overplay with an ombre and muddy your colors, so I do all those steps and then I stop, check, look and make sure that I'm happy with the blend, or if there's any areas that need a little bit more attention, then I'll come in and give those areas a little bit more of a blend. And I was really happy with how these two colors blended together. I do always find the Kiki London pastel shades blend absolutely beautifully and effortlessly as well. So once I was happy with the blend, we popped that into cure, and then we're going to do some chrome stamping on this now. So I'm going to come in and matte top coat, because I always find chrome stamping goes a lot easier if you're working over a super matte base. So I applied my thin coat of matte top coat, and then once that's cured, I'm going to very gently buff with the 180-degree side of the buffer and clean away all that dust, and that's going to give you a super matte surface. Now for our chrome, I'm going to be using the gold mirror chrome. I do feel as though the gold is my most used color out of the chromes. It just works with any shade and any design. As you can see, you get loads in the pot, and I've used this quite a lot as well. So I've got my stamping plate, and to do chrome stamping you are going to need 2 stampers. So I've got a second stamper head here, and this is what I'm loading my chrome onto. Now a little bit does go a long way, and I like to just apply it in the center so that we're not wasting loads of chrome. And then once we've got that applied, we're going to pretty much just stamp down our image as normal. So we're going to apply a stamping polish, scrape the excess, quick flick of the wrist to pick it up, and really quickly remove any excess image you don't want, and then press that down. And then once we've got our image pressed down, we're immediately going to press down our chrome powder, sorry. And as you can see, it grabs on to that stamping polish, and then you can very easily brush away a lot of that excess. And because you've got a nice matte surface, the excess should brush away nicely. If you didn't have a matte surface, so if you were working over a no wipe top coat or a tacky layer, then you will find that chrome grabs on a lot more. So I highly recommend doing the matte top coat and then buffing as well. So we're going to repeat that again with a second little butterfly, and I want these butterflies going down that center blend. So I'm going to come in and stamp down our image first of all, and you do have to work quite quick, especially this step here, because your stamping polish dries super quickly, and if it completely dries, then the chrome powder will have nothing to stick onto. Now of course we're going to top coat all of these nails, which will seal that in, but the chrome does still need something to grab onto, so it's really important that you work quickly once you've stamped down your stamping polish. I did then go in with a little bit of alcohol on the angled nail art brush just to clean off any of that excess chrome powder. For our final design, again, we've got our 2 coats of coconut, and I'm going to come in and matte top coat. And I'm matte top coating this time because I want to do a little bit of hand painting, only some simple squares, but I always find it a lot easier to hand paint over a matte surface. So I'm applying a really thin layer of the matte top coat, and then we're going to pop that in to cure for 30 seconds. And then for our hand painting, we're of course going to be using my trusty striped liner brush, because I think I say this in every video, but I very rarely do a set of nails without using this brush. If you have to buy one brush, buy this one. So I'm going to load it up with the beautiful Willow, as that is my favorite shade in this collection, and I wanted to add a little bit more of that into the design. Now this particular design did come out a little bit more of a softer spring look compared to the others, and it's not necessarily a full set of nails. I just wanted to put some designs together to show you guys different ways of using the collection, and I feel as though this one is a little bit more on the minimalist vibe, which has been in for a while now. So I'm coming in and just drawing on a few different squares just so we can get some pops of colour onto that white base. And I feel as though Willow looks really beautiful against a white base as well, especially if you are into a more softer spring summer look. Now I'm using my striped liner brush to fill in these squares. You of course could use your bottle brush for this step if you wanted, but because I had plenty of gel polish down on my palette, I didn't want to waste that, so that's why I'm just taking a little bit longer, because I'm filling in those sections using the striped liner brush. But this way as well, especially when you're working on shorter nails, is a lot easier as well, because you've got a lot more control over the product as compared to when you're using a bottle brush. Now once I'm happy with those little shapes that are down on the nail, we're going to pop this in to cure for 30 seconds, and then we're just going to add on a little bit more chrome stamping. I really love chrome stamping for spring and summer, especially in these sort of butterfly designs, because they just add a little something extra special. I feel I really want to try stamping with foils as well, which is something I feel has popped up again recently. So let me know as well in the comments below if you have any particular designs or nail art techniques that you're struggling with and you would like to see more videos on. Once again, I have matte top coated and then going to buff the surface of the nail, and then on this one we're just going to pop 2 little images so that they add another layer to the design, but you've still got some pops of that color coming through. So we're going to use the other butterfly that was on this stamping plate. Always using my trusty lint roller to get rid of any excess. When it comes to chrome stamping especially, because you've got to work quite quick, it's a lot easier to remove any excess image off your stamper rather than trying to remove it off the nail after. Here you will see I had a few little areas where that image has parts of an image have transferred that I don't want, and although you can clean them up with black, I always find it stains the nail a little bit. So I would always try and recommend, if you can, to remove any excess image before you place it down on the nail. And on this one I decided to make it look a little bit more springy. Rather than adding on another butterfly, would add on a little leaf as well and stick with that chrome vibe for this. So I'm going to stamp this down in the bottom part of the nail, and again making sure that it's overlapping the willow and the coconut, so it's all layering up nicely, giving that a really good brush off to get rid as much of that excess chrome powder as we can, before then just very gently cleaning up with some alcohol. And this is what the finished design is looking like so far. So we've got all of that nail art finished. We now need to come in and top coat, and to top coat we're going to be using the new crystal top coat. This has been really popular, guys, so if you haven't got it, I highly recommend it. The shine on it is incredible, and you can really see it more when you are doing nail art over plain color nails. I feel, especially things like the chrome, the clarity of this is just amazing. It really makes your chrome pop. Now, because I'm working over chrome and black stamping polish, I'm floating this top coat on, so I'm applying a little bit more than I normally would, and just making sure I can go and gently float it over the nail rather than having to work my brush. And I'm doing that because we don't want to disturb that chrome too much and move it around. And the same goes for stamping polish. Stamping polish can be a little bit finicky, and it can kind of smudge, and it does depend on the top coat you're using, but I did find that I got no smudging issues with this top coat, so that was brilliant, because I know a lot of the gel polish addicts are also stamping addicts, so you'll be pleased to know that this top coat works really well with stamping. It does require a 60-second cure, so we popped it into cure for 60 seconds, and this, guys, was the finished result. They made me feel all warm and fuzzy and like it was a spring summer's day, so I really hope that they bring out that spring weather. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment below, and don't forget to hit that subscription button if you haven't already. As always, I will leave all of the products I've used linked in the description box below. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.